scenario involves a customer with a small commercial building in a residential area, supplied with 120/240 volts single-phase power, who has acquired three-phase equipment. The primary challenge is finding a cost-effective way to operate the three-phase equipment without a three-phase electrical service. There are several possible solutions. Firstly, you could consider upgrading the electrical service. Contacting the utility company to investigate the cost of installing a new three-phase service to the building is an option. This is likely to be the most expensive solution, but it may be necessary if the customer's equipment cannot be accommodated otherwise. The cost can vary significantly depending on the utility company's infrastructure and the distance to the nearest three-phase power source. Secondly, you could look at installing a phase converter to convert single-phase power to three-phase power. These devices typically use a capacitor and motor to create the third phase. There are two main types of phase converters: static and rotary. Static converters are generally less expensive, but have limited power capabilities and are best suited for light-duty applications. Rotary converters are more powerful and can handle heavier loads, but they are also more expensive and require more maintenance. When selecting a phase converter, consider the total horsepower and voltage requirements of the three-phase equipment. Be sure to choose a converter with sufficient capacity to handle the load. Thirdly, advise the customer to return or sell the three-phase equipment and purchase single-phase equipment that is compatible with the building's existing electrical service. This may be the most cost-effective solution, especially if the three-phase equipment is not essential or if single-phase alternatives are readily available. Evaluate the cost difference between the three-phase equipment and comparable single-phase options. Also, consider the long-term operating costs and efficiency of each option. Fourthly, if the customer is using a significant amount of electricity for the three-phase equipment, consider installing a submeter to track the energy consumption of that equipment specifically. This would allow the customer to accurately allocate the increased electrical costs to the appropriate tenant or application. This is particularly useful in multi-tenant buildings where different tenants have different energy needs. A submeter provides precise data on energy usage, enabling fair billing practices. Fifthly, you could explore the option of leasing the three-phase equipment rather than purchasing it outright. Leasing can reduce the initial investment and allow the customer to switch to single-phase equipment in the future if desired. This also provides flexibility if the customer's needs change over time. Leasing agreements often include maintenance and support, further reducing the customer's responsibilities. Additional considerations must be taken into account. Ensure that all electrical work complies with all applicable codes and regulations. This includes the National Electrical Code or NEC, as well as any local or state requirements. Electrical work must be performed by a qualified and licensed electrician. Proper permitting and inspections are essential to ensure safety and compliance. Adhere to proper safety procedures when working with electrical equipment. This includes wearing appropriate personal protective equipment such as gloves and eye protection, to energizing circuits before working on them, and using proper lockout-tagout procedures. The electrical safety is paramount to prevent accidents and injuries. Clearly communicate the potential limitations and costs associated with each solution to the customer. This includes the initial investment, operating costs, maintenance requirements, and any potential limitations of each option. Providing the customer with a comprehensive cost-benefit analysis will help them make an informed decision. A phase converter works by creating an artificial third phase from a single-phase power source. This allows three-phase equipment to operate on a single-phase electrical system. There are two main types of phase converters: static and rotary. Static phase converters are the simpler and less expensive option. They use capacitors to create a voltage difference that approximates a third phase. However, static converters typically only provide about 66% of the rated horsepower of the three-phase motor. They are best suited for applications with light or intermittent load. Rotary phase converters use a motor generator set to create a true three-phase output. A single-phase motor drives a three-phase generator which produces a balanced three-phase power supply. Rotary converters can handle much larger loads than static converters and provide full rated horsepower to the three-phase motor. However, they are more expensive and require more maintenance due to the moving parts. When selecting a phase converter, it is essential to match the converter's capacity to the load requirements of the three-phase equipment. The converter should be sized to handle the startup current and continuous running current of the motor. It is also important to consider the voltage requirements of the equipment and ensure that the converter provides the correct voltage. Upgrading the electrical service to three-phase is the most straightforward solution, but also the most expensive. It involves working with the utility company to install a new three-phase transformer and service panel. This may require running new power lines to the building and upgrading the electrical infrastructure. The cost of operating the service can vary widely depending on the location, the distance to the nearest three-phase power source, and the utility company's rates. However, upgrading to three-phase power provides a reliable and efficient power supply for three-phase equipment and eliminates the need for phase converters. Replacing the three-phase equipment with single-phase alternatives is another viable option. Many types of equipment are available in both single-phase and three-phase versions. If the customer is not heavily invested in the three-phase equipment, it may be more cost-effective to simply replace it with single-phase models. This eliminates the need for phase converters or service upgrades. However, it is important to consider the performance and features of the single-phase equipment to ensure that it meets the customer's needs. Submetering is a useful tool for tracking the energy consumption of the three-phase equipment. It involves installing a separate meter to measure the electricity used by the equipment. This allows the customer to accurately allocate the energy costs to the appropriate tenant or application. Submetering is particularly beneficial in multi-tenant buildings where different tenants have different energy needs. It promotes fair billing practices and encourages energy conservation. Leasing the three-phase equipment is an alternative to purchasing it outright. Leasing can reduce the initial investment and provide flexibility if the customer's needs change in the future. Leasing agreements often include maintenance and support, further reducing the customer's responsibilities. It is important to carefully review the terms of the lease agreement to ensure that it meets the customer's needs. When evaluating these solutions, consider the following factors. Firstly, the cost of each solution, including the initial investment, operating costs, and maintenance expenses. Secondly, the performance and reliability of each solution, including the power output, efficiency, and expected lifespan. Thirdly, the compliance with electrical codes and regulations, including the National Electrical Code and any local requirements. Fourthly, the safety considerations, including the proper installation, grounding, and protection of the equipment. Fifthly, the customer's expectations and needs, including the desired level of performance, flexibility, and ease of use. By carefully evaluating these factors, you can help the customer choose the most appropriate solution for their specific situation. The National Electrical Code or NEC provides specific guidelines for electrical installations, including those involving phase converters and three-phase equipment. Article 455 of the NEC covers phase converters and addresses issues such as sizing, overcurrent protection, and grounding. It is important to comply with the NEC requirements to ensure a safe and code-compliant installation. The NEC also addresses the grounding of electrical systems in Article 250. Proper grounding is essential for protecting against electrical shock and preventing equipment damage. The grounding system should be designed and installed in accordance with the NEC requirements. Overcurrent protection is another critical aspect of electrical safety. Overcurrent devices such as circuit breakers and fuses are designed to protect against overloads and short circuits. The overcurrent protection devices should be sized to protect the conductors and equipment in accordance with the NEC requirements. The voltage drop is another factor to consider in electrical installations. Voltage drop occurs when the voltage at the end of a circuit is lower than the voltage at the source. Excessive voltage drop can cause equipment to malfunction or fail. The NEC provides guidelines for limiting voltage drop in branch circuits and feeders. The ampacity of conductors is the maximum current that a conductor can carry continuously without exceeding its temperature rating. The NEC provides tables that specify the ampacity of different types of conductors based on their size, insulation, and installation conditions. It is important to select conductors with sufficient ampacity to carry the expected load. The NEC also addresses the installation of electrical equipment in hazardous locations. Hazardous locations are areas where there is a risk of fire or explosion due to the presence of flammable gases, vapors, or dusts. Electrical equipment installed in hazardous locations must be specifically designed and rated for those environments. The NEC requires that all electrical work be performed by qualified and licensed electricians. Electrical work can be dangerous, and it is important to have the knowledge and skills to perform it safely and correctly. Hiring a qualified electrician ensures that the work is done in accordance with the NEC and other applicable codes and regulations. Electrical permits are required for many types of electrical work. The permit process ensures that the work is reviewed and inspected by qualified electrical inspectors. Obtaining the necessary permits is essential for ensuring compliance with local codes and regulations. Electrical inspections are conducted by electrical inspectors to verify that the work has been performed in accordance with the NEC and other applicable codes and regulations. Passing the electrical inspection is required before the electrical system can be energized. The NEC is updated every 3 years to reflect changes in technology and best practices. It is important to stay current with the latest edition of the NEC to ensure that electrical installations are safe and code compliant. In addition to the NEC, there may be other local or state electrical codes and regulations that apply. It is important to be aware of and comply with all applicable codes and regulations. The customer's expectations and needs should be carefully considered when evaluating different solutions. The customer may have specific requirements for performance, reliability, or cost. It is important to understand the customer's needs and provide them with the best possible solution. The limitations of each solution should be clearly communicated to the customer. For example, a static phase converter may not be suitable for heavy-duty applications. It is important to be upfront about the limitations of each solution so that the customer can make an informed decision. The costs associated with each solution should be clearly explained to the customer. This includes the initial investment, operating costs, and maintenance expenses. Providing the customer with a detailed cost breakdown will help them to make a sound financial decision. The benefits of each solution should also be highlighted to the customer. For example, upgrading to 3-phase power provides a reliable and efficient power supply. It is important to emphasize the benefits of each solution so that the customer understands the value that they are receiving. The customer should be involved in the decision-making process. The customer should be given the opportunity to ask questions and express their concerns. It is important to listen to the customer and address their concerns in a professional and courteous manner. A written proposal should be provided to the customer that outlines the recommended solution, the scope of work, the costs, and the schedule. The proposal should be clear, concise, and easy to understand. A contract should be signed by both the customer and the contractor before any work begins. The contract should outline the terms and conditions of the agreement, including the payment schedule, the warranty, and the dispute resolution process. The electrical work should be performed in a safe and workmanlike manner. The work should be done in accordance with the NEC and other applicable codes and regulations. The work site should be kept clean and organized. The customer should be kept informed of the progress of the work. The customer should be given the opportunity to inspect the work and ask questions. Any issues or concerns should be addressed promptly and professionally. A final inspection should be conducted to ensure that the work has been performed correctly and that the electrical system is safe and code compliant. The customer should be provided with a copy of the final inspection report. The customer should be provided with instructions on how to operate and maintain the electrical system. The customer should also be provided with contact information for future service and support.